Well, 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row we had to cancel our drone session for Saturday morning. Two very different reasons, right? Last Saturday morning the track was muddy, sloppy. It was a little ruddy on top. It just wasn't, you couldn't train on it. I don't think that anybody, for the most part, trained in Ontario on Saturday, unless you went to Mohawk. Unless you went to Mohawk to train. And then this Saturday was hard as a rock. And they did all they could. It was muddy all week, and I asked them to grade the track. We had a grader come over, go over the track, and it put some gouges in the track, to be honest. But then it got so muddy they couldn't really fix it. So they worked on it yesterday, worked, and they had it pretty good. Then we got there today, and it had frozen around 4 o'clock in the morning, a little even harder than they thought. They called for, when we had scheduled this drone session, it was supposed to be -3, feels like -6 or 7, with sun going up to 8 or 9 degrees, with 14-kilometer-hour winds. Just about as perfect as you could have it. Sure, the last few sets might have been a little muddy, but still just a great day. And then 2 days ago, it changed. -8 feels like -16. This is March 23rd. -8 feels like -16. Chance of 37-kilometer-an-hour winds. It just didn't look like we were going to get to go. So I wanted really bad to train today. I got out of bed at 6:10. Went down to the training center. I was there by the time I get showered and everything. I was there by 7 o'clock. Before 7. Track was hard. As soon as the sun came up, the grader got there. Now, Curtis was rushing to get there. He drops his daughter off at Saturday mornings on drone days. His wife, she flies. She's a flight attendant. I don't want to say the wrong word. She's a flight attendant. She flies everywhere, so she's busy too. Jamie's really busy. So Curtis drops little Lennon off at her grandparents' and gets there as fast as he can. Now, he was there by about 5 after 8. We were going to be a little late starting, but my biggest problem was the track. And when you step back, it was pretty simple. Listen, all next week is very warm, not a lot of wind. It was just going to be a nice week. Why bring the last little blast of winter into the horses, train them on that hard track? Sure, they had a little cushion on it, but it just wasn't perfect. And it was nobody's fault. It was just Mother Nature's last laugh at us, I guess. So as I said, when you step back and look at it, it's pretty simple. We just couldn't train the horses on that track, nor should we. Horses come first, so we canceled. Now, a few horses did train that were behind. They went slow miles on the track. I know that Harry wasn't very pleased. I told him Trafalgar and Capistrano were training because they were broke in December. They didn't start training till mid-January. They're literally 3 months behind everybody else. And if you think that you can just not put extra work into them to catch up, especially when our horses are missing days like this, it's a good opportunity for those horses to catch up. I don't think they're excessively hard miles. We only went a mile in 35. But I'm a firm believer in work. And if we could break the horses in December, train them from January on, and still do well, and expect that the horses would hold up all summer, then why aren't we just breaking them in January? It makes no sense. So I want to make sure the base are into those horses. So Capistrano trained. She trained pretty good. Trafalgar's a bigger, stronger filly than her right now. She trained very, very well. There's one filly I'm going to unveil Wednesday. You're not going to see this one coming. She's trained really, really well. I'm not even going to tell you who it is. She trained really, really well her last 2 training sessions, and virtually was non-existent before then. I had mentioned last week how well Jailhouse Master has been coming around. Both James and Steve. Steve's a nice guy. He's pretty grounded, put it that way. He doesn't give out too many compliments. He loves really Blue Chip, gets along good with her, so he goes with her a lot. And he come up and made a point to tell me how good Jailhouse Master has been of late, which is pretty incredible because he's tried. I've always told you how hard he tries. But eventually I was hoping that great work ethic would turn into a nice colt. Now, he's a long... Stop, phone. He's a long way... look, you're going to get it, phone. There we go. He's a long way from what you'd say a nice colt. But he tries hard, and he's training very, very well right now. So let's say out of 12 weeks, he's trained fantastic. 2 of them. But they've been the last 2. The most important 2 of his life. So... I love to see those horses that you can tell their ears are up, they love their work, they're on the track, they're working hard, and then you see them start to come forward. It's a great feeling to know that you've at least played a role in that horse's progression. And those are horses you always cheer for, that I specifically always cheer for. And Jailhouse Master's been doing great. Now this filly, I'm not telling you, you're going to watch her on Wednesday. If you look close at the sets, you're going to see that there's an oddity. There's an anomaly. I put a filly in with a little bit tougher bunch than she's been used to, only because I trained her again today and she trained awesome. So you're going to have to wait and see on Wednesday. I could be wrong, but I don't think so, especially after what I saw this morning. So that's what we're going to do, is obviously just take those sets and move them over to Wednesday. Now, a couple of horses, I didn't have it written down, 2 horses that were just castrated can now come off the scratch list and go on to the training list. Now again, Miss Mischief Maker will not be there on Wednesday. One of my good friends asked me, what happened to Miss Mischief Maker? 2 people actually asked me. Nothing. We had the stitches out last week. The vet asked us to wait another couple of days to start back in her normal routine, and we're going to. Her leg looks great. She seems really good, and I was happy to give her the time. This is a filly that was way ahead. She was in that top grouping forever, and unfortunately, through that time off, when she missed time, acted up in her stall and cut her leg. But it was all superficial. It did take stitches, but it all healed. The stitches come out, and she looks great. So I'm not going to tempt fate. She won't be training on Wednesday, but she will be active on Wednesday. That's Miss Mischief Maker. Now, don't believe me, just watch is a horse I told you has been training great. We castrated him the other day simply because he's a little cranky on the track. He's getting that little stud neck on him, and I want to nip that attitude in the bud right away before we get too far along. Same reason we castrated I'll Play It Alone. Yeah, I'll Play It Alone. We have to pick him up at the university tomorrow. He was a ridgeling, so they have to actually operate and take that out. It's a very mild thing, but they do have to knock him out, flip him over, and it's about twice as expensive as a normal castration. But considering the amount of money we saved because they said ridgeling at the sale, for those of you that are at sales and buy horses, you know what I'm talking about. Most times when they announce a horse as a ridgeling, the horse all of a sudden turns into a leper. Nobody wants it, so it's about a $1,500 or $1,600 operation. It's not a big deal, and it wasn't for this guy. Danny said he was getting a little hot, and he's right. I trained him. We castrated him on Wednesday. I trained him Tuesday, and he was ferociously fast. A little too fast for this time of year. A little too grabby, so Danny made the right call there. This castration will probably go a long way. And he was creeping over on the left shaft. Now, that was the side, the castration, the ridgeling, the testicle was up in his abdomen, I believe. So, that could have been playing a little role also. You know, all said and done, I'll Play It Alone has looked tremendous from what I saw the other day when I saw him. Very, very talented colt, and I'm extremely excited to see what's going to happen with him over the coming months. Other big news, obviously, is the webcast. We've made a decision. Now, full disclosure, the webcast is a broadcast. So we have Curtis here, we have Kelly here, we set up, and I liked how it was done last time. It was done really well, obviously. Most things with Curtis and Kelly are. So it was done really well. But Curtis, I'd feel more comfortable if he was there, not just set up and leave, but there. And he plays hockey also. And the hockey team he plays on, a beer league or whatever, their playoff game is that Wednesday. Now, for me, a great time to have that webcast is Sunday night or Wednesday night. I don't usually race on Wednesday nights. Obviously, we try not to race on Sunday nights, especially right now. So 6 o'clock on either one of those 2 days would be perfect timing. Curtis plays hockey on that Wednesday. He said if that would be, don't quote me on this, but April 4th, I believe. So about 11 days from now. And Curtis said that he didn't get the schedule yet for his hockey team. If he played later at night, if we start at 6, he can make a 9 o'clock game anywhere in the area. So that won't be a problem. If not, I guess we can push it to a Tuesday, which may not impact you any differently, but it might me. But we'll see. We'll see. So either way, the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, we want to have that webcast, get that out there to you guys. A number of people really enjoyed that information session last time, that back and forth that we had. I know I did. I certainly enjoyed it. So that will play a big role in the future. Obviously, we have the staking coming up April 15th. We have a lot of people now asking, are we going to continue on with some of these Grand Circuit payments? For the most part, I think so. But again, it's worth looking at again, and I want to have a fresh set of eyes look at it, and then talk to you guys before before we make any changes there. I want to go over how the horses are going, how the summer's shaping up. I want to be able to unveil the trainer that we have going to Pennsylvania. I believe we have a trainer going to Pennsylvania, which is a big deal for us. Big trainer too, so it's a big catch for us. And if it goes through, I don't want to jinx it. So we'll wait to unveil that at the webcast. Also, I want to talk about, obviously, we will have the horses racing shortly thereafter in Ohio. We have West 52nd, See You in Tuscany, Oso, Pine, Twinsburg, yes, all schooled and qualified the other day. Now, West 52nd made a break without hobbles on. I'm sure I can nurse him around, but we're not really in the nursing mode right now, right? Stakes are starting. I don't want to find out at the 3/4 pole, in the final of one of the stakes in Ohio that maybe we should have had the hobbles on West 52nd. So that's no problem. Yes, made a little boo-boo too. He was going a big mile in a schooler. I'd say 58, 59. He made a break halfway down the lane out in front, and he was very sharp. Both those colts were very strong. Schooling and qualifying. We'll put the hobbles on the both of them, qualify them next Thursday. Twinsburg was a little flat. She had a little cut, little abscess on her neck. Her white count might have spiked a little bit. That's all cleaned up. We're going to have her back in to qualify. Obviously, it was hard to gauge how the horses actually went the other day because such a horrible day and muddy and nasty. So I don't want to say she went bad. A little flat. But this is the first big mile in 5 minutes. First time we've asked them for big quarters. Jason trained them in 2-2, 2-3, 2-4, but no 27, 28 quarters. This is all even training stuff. So that was the first time we asked them for some punch. And a little flat was Twinsburg, but no concerns there. Yes was very good. Oso Pine schooled very good. See You in Tuscany schooled very good. He went a mile in 59, come like 28 flat, 28-1 on the end of it. Looked very good. And West 52nd made a little break. Also, I had a big smile on my face. I trained White Tiger for the first time. Harry'd been going with him, and he looks really good. Trained him with no hobbles on. I wanted to go a mile and a half at Mohawk, which sounds easy. You got to start way down the backstretch, and it's not like just going 3 laps at Art Farm. So I start him up. There was a guy training. He told me he wanted to go in 2:10, so I told him, nah, it's too much for me. I didn't want to go that much. I was going to go around 18 or 20. So he's smart enough. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he started way behind me so that at the last 3/8 of the mile, he was kind of caught up. So getting into the last turn at Mohawk, I hear him coming. He clears me. Now I let him go. He let him go. Wasn't too bad, a little racy, but not too bad. I rolled up on his back in the last turn. I moved him over at that lane. We trotted the last quarter about 31 seconds in the chalk cart, and he was gone. I blew by him, and I had him doubled up going under the wire, which might have broke his heart, the other guy. But Tiger was some sharp, I'll tell you what. He looked awesome. Maintenance man, I trained him in 59, but he needs some more fast miles into him. He's going to need about 2 more weeks, so I think about 2 full schoolers before we try to qualify maintenance man. Warwee Ultra, I trained her in 2.5 off half and 1:06. She's almost ready to start schooling, and the Butler did it, went a mile in 2.6 last half and 1:1, I believe. He looked pretty good also. He's going to be into school this week. Now, for those of you that keep asking, Max hit his knee again. Now, he didn't blow it up. He didn't cut it open. There's still a cut on it, but he hit his knee again, and that's a problem. He trained a mile in 2.5 or 2.6, but I am concerned now. I'm a little concerned with him striking his knee. I never thought this would happen. He brushed it a little bit when he was young, but it's becoming a problem, and this is one of those things that'll go away later on, but we can't wait till later on. So Max is going to have to come forward. I stepped away and let the blacksmith and Harry work on his shoeing. I put my 2 cents in. I changed him the way I thought he'd be able to trot, and he still struck at his knee a little bit. So Harry and Felix were working on him with the shoeing today. We'll go back and train him again this coming week. We're going to have to see Max be able to trot a half in 58 or 59 without leaving blood on his knee boot and hitting his knee. before we can go into qualifying and racing him. So that is a little bit of a problem, but we're working on it. What else do we got here? You know, as far as the horses are racing good, you know, we've had a shitty winter at the stable, and I sat down and talked to one of our clients, Mo, last night about this, and I said, you know, this is on me. It's my fault. I put too much weight on the shoulders of some horses we had coming back that I thought would be better than they were, and they weren't. And what we were left is the likes of Too Far Gone and Sunshine Inn and horses like that, you know, Holding Steady, Art Seeker, to prop up a 130 horse stable, and that was short-sighted on my part. My fault, and I'm to blame for that. I look at the horses we have coming back at 4 this year. That won't happen this year. I'd like to say I won't let that happen again, but I think we're poised to not have that happen. Nevertheless, the debacle of late 2018, early 2019 is Anthony's fault, and I'll own up to that. As I said, the May sale is coming up. We're going to change things up this year. We're going to take a look at the stable overall when we get to that sale deadline. Take a look at even some of the 2-year-olds that maybe not. We've already sold 2 of them back at the last sale, and we're going to take a look at a few of the other ones that may not be making it, and decide if maybe it's not worth keeping those horses. Let somebody else give them all the time, bring them back in the fall, and try and race them at smaller tracks. Might not be what's best for us. You know, you always have to learn from your mistakes, and I think last year there was some mistakes made. That was one of them, and I plan on learning from it. So we will have a May list of horses that will likely go to the May sale. I think that makes sense. It's only fair. We want to do what's right for our clients and the horses. If the horses are going to need a lot more time and we don't know what's going to happen, horse like Sunshine Inn, I still believe she's going to be a nice filly. And some of the horses we put away, we were a little concerned that maybe they wouldn't come back great, and they didn't. And that's my fault. So we have to make some changes. That will be one. The next sale in May, we may have another 8, 10, 12 horses in that sale also. The only shining light, Road Tripper, just got beaten the preferred numbers of 3 last night. James just got picked off of the wire on a bad track. You know, when that class usually goes in 56 and it goes in 59 and 2, you can see what the conditions are in Ontario right now. Windy, the track's really unsettling for a lot of the horses. Road Tripper muscled through and just got beat last night. But really, that's it. I went to London and got the shit kicked out of me all night. I think Bay Jewel could be a lot better. I held her together and you know, came home with a 4th place purse finish, but didn't race that great. She looked a little off left hind. I think there's some improvements we can make going into next week, and I'm going to need her to start racing better also. She got a flat line. We got paid. That's step number 1. We had a big draw last night in Illinois. 20% of the Illinois filly Olympic hopeful, the sister to Guilty with an Excuse that we had before. She's been training very well, a little sporadic, made the odd break here and there, but there's been some really shining points throughout the winter where she looked really good. John Walsh, the manager of Hawthorne Racecourse, and one of our good clients, bought some shares in that filly to give away as a draw in Illinois last night. So one of the other things that I'd unveiled last week, that was that Eddie Olczyk, a famed hockey player and now sports analyst and announcer for the Blackhawks, I believe, on TV, and has some thoroughbreds, now has a standardbred. He has a horse with us in Olympic Hopeful. He has a small stake in her. We have a couple of clients that might be coming on, new clients that are coming on. That'll be very interesting to a lot of sports fans over the next couple of months, hopefully. So we're working on that. We're working on getting some stories out in relation to that. What else we got going on? Ohio. We have our Ohio 3-year-olds that are going to be starting up. They're going to Ohio. Now, we're trying to get a race into them before they get down to Ohio, but truthfully speaking, it's a long year in Ohio. Race them in the James Hackett Memorial, hopefully the final. Then they have hopefully the Scarlet and Gray. If we do well, the Scarlet and Gray comes up right after that. And then it's off to the races for the summer. So Jason will be heading down with 5, plus his filly is 6. 6 horses down to Ohio. And then we'll be towards the middle and end of June when we start qualifying those Ohio breds. They'll be heading down there also. Our 3-year-olds for Pennsylvania, obviously, not in the next few weeks, but probably within the next month and a bit. we'll be heading down. Oh, I forgot to mention Casanova's Jewel. Casanova's Jewel trained fantastic the other day. Then we found a splint on his left front, maybe right, I think left though. And we had a cryout, so he's going to school next Thursday also. He looks ready to rock. Very happy with what I've seen from him. What else? That's about it. Everything's called, you know, this is the time of year where we feel like we get over that hump, and it's more like the top, as I said last week, the top of a roller coaster. It's full speed ahead after that. We got a lot of interesting things I'm working on doing this summer and this fall. We're already talking about the fall. Wow. Well, let's get through the spring and into the summer first, and then we can talk about the fall. So, not a lot of training to talk about. There was only, as I said, 4 horses trained, 5 maybe trained. One I was floored by, and we're gonna talk more about her on Wednesday. The two pacing fillies went. I was happy with the way they went. Outside of Road Tripper, not much to talk about on the track. Just a Ted makes his maiden voyage tonight. See how long I can hold my breath for, because Ted is no stranger to making breaks, and he is rough, but he is fast and he is strong. So hopefully we can find some sort of line, as a thoroughbred say, some sort of line on the track we can get him on where he can get his wheels on the ground and get him around and maybe get some money. Maybe that would be nice. Keep him off the qualifying list and get some money. And then Better Call Mike races tonight. Also, big news at the track, obviously, is Lincoln James. Now, Lincoln James hasn't been stellar his last little while, but I think he went through that spot where we crowd that lag. Wasn't a big deal. Then he come back and he get torched twice, and James was really conservative with him last week. I'd expect him to have a little more forwardly placed tonight and race well. So that's pretty much it. As I said, not a lot to talk about. I'm not going to go through the babies this week. There's no point. Nothing's changed. I've been happy with what's going on. The castrated horses, except for I'll Play It Alone, will be in action. We're going to add them to the sets in the next 24 hours. We'll have that updated set list for you also. And I'll go through all the stables in a minute. Run through Kevin's barn, Harry's barn, and Jason's barn. As I said, not a lot to talk about, but we'll get you informed. So, be back in just a minute. We'll run through all 3 stables, and then that'll be it for today. Short video, not a lot to do, not a lot to talk about right now in the babies form. Maybe I'll come back Wednesday. Stop phone. Maybe I'll come back Wednesday and send you a video out Wednesday after the babies train. I think I will do that. I will do that. That'll be something for you guys to sink your teeth into in the middle of the week. Be back in just a minute with the birds.